All right. So last time I tried a YouTube live, I thought it was connected and I was talking, and nothing was happening because I didn't hit go live. This time I again had trouble connecting, but I think I did hit all the right buttons. So let me know in the chat before I get started that you can actually see and hear me. The chat is always, some of the most fun conversation. It's fun to interact with one another and share your insights and your tips and your ideas in the chat. And it's fun for me to see, you live and interested. Robin's here, Honey Acres Homestead. Yay, I am glad it's working. So our goal with the CEO hour for homemakers is that we take, about an hour-ish. Apparently it takes me about 10 minutes to get the tech set up. So next time I need to build that in. But we take an hour-ish and really think through what we need to be doing in a particular area of our homes, and to take some time to get that big picture view, because sometimes, we're just running, doing all the things. And, that feeling that you are dropping balls, that is a stressful feeling and it's a distracting feeling. And a lot of times it really is only a feeling. It's just because we are so busy that we lose track of what we're supposed to be doing. And so we assume we're missing something, dropping something. And then because we feel that way, we think it's true. And so then we get more and more distractible and stressed. When if we just take a minute to take a breath, write things out, do a brain dump, make a list, then we see, okay, hold on, wait a sec, I'm doing all right. These balls that I'm juggling are the right balls. Not everything can. Short list. Hold on. It says there is no data. And we're back. Now I'm curious. I don't know if it will. I don't know how it handles that. If you missed something and it was gone, or if it's going back and just adding more of a delay. So you can, I guess I'll watch the replay and find out. So have some paper with you, have a pen, write things down. I did make a checklist for you to fill out during this time to help you really break it down. So what we want to do is brain dump, to write down a bunch of things and get the ideas out. And then from that, create the consolidated checklist. So if you got the free checklist printable for this CEO hour day, then that page is your consolidated version. Before you can fill that out appropriately, you need to brain dump first. Because what comes to mind first when we think about what needs to be done is often not the most important things, or it doesn't come out in the right order. So we want to brain dump first and just let the ideas and reminders and the stuff in our heads come out, and then process it a little bit and make a distilled list, because also all that comes out of our brains and onto paper is not worth keeping. Everything that we can think of to do is not what belongs on our to-do list. We need to cull and distill, and then that goes on the checklist. If you don't have that free checklist that we're giving away, then you can get it by emailing support@simplifiedorganization.com. That's support@simplifiedorganization.com. And my assistant, Lisa, will send it to you. But we are asking that to get that free checklist, you share this with a friend. So you can grab the link, you can use any share button, and share this workshop with a friend. Then let us know by sending us an email that you shared it, and we will send you this free worksheet. And by the end of this workshop, you should have it filled out. So, the 3 essential homemaking routines. It's very easy to overthink these things, and these 3 essential routines are not if you have these 3 things, everything in your home will be running smoothly for forever. That's not the premise here. These 3 homemaking routines that we're going to boil down to their essential elements in this next 30 to 40 minutes are the routines that will keep you treading water in your home. They will keep things from falling apart. And that's an important expectation to keep in mind. That's an important kind of routine to have, because often, or at least this is me, when I make a plan for routines, I create, from starting with a blank sheet of paper, I create the most amazing homemaking system where everything gets addressed at the appropriate time. There's daily, there's weekly, there's monthly, there's seasonally, and it's all coordinated and it's going to work great. Except that I don't actually work that routine plan then. It's really not a routine plan. It's a system of half a dozen routines. And those half a dozen routines, if they all work, then yeah, it's amazing. But even if they'll all work for a time, there are also going to be times where things fall apart. There are going to be times that throw everything off balance. Everyone might get sick. We might move. There might be a new baby. There are all kinds of things that can throw off that thorough, complete system. And our response to that should not be to then throw it all away and wait until we can start over from scratch with another perfect system. We need to have a fallback set of essentials that will work even if most people in the house are sick, even if we were gone all day, even if we just got back from vacation. We want to know what the bare minimum is to just keep tabs on things, just to keep up with the bare minimum so that we don't slide into chaos. So, those 3 essentials are, let me pull up my slides. Here we are. The 3 essential routines are the morning routine, the evening routine, and the EHAP routine. Let's see, I am going to make my slides a bit bigger. How's that? That looks good. Oops. Okay. So, again, just like the whole complete routine system, the morning routine and the evening routine and the EHAP routine, which I'll get to explaining what that is if you don't know what EHAP is, but these routines, we don't want to expand them so much that they are impossible to execute perfectly most days. You might have a morning routine that's, say, half an hour or a full hour and it really works for you, at least for now, or sometimes. But what we want to have is the bare essence of the morning routine so that we're not tempted to not do anything when we can't do the whole thing. Because the problem with having a huge morning routine or evening routine that's going to take care of everything and keep the whole house running smooth and easy is that when we can't do that full bore 100% morning routine or evening routine, we end up doing none of it. So what we want is the scaled back, minimum viable morning routine, evening routine, and EHAP routine. And I have found for myself and hundreds of other ladies inside our convivial circle community have also found that you can have a 15-minute morning routine, a 15-minute evening routine, and a 10 or 15-minute EHAP routine. And those three pieces together that take up less than an hour a day can help you stay on top of things, help you not let everything just fall to chaos. And they're small enough that they're not intimidating. They're small enough that you can say, okay, I can actually do that. I'm not going to procrastinate because 15 minutes to stay on top of things is worth it for me. So I would love to hear in the chat what currently makes up your morning routine and evening routine and how long it takes. What's in your morning and evening routine right now? Or do you have a morning or evening routine? If you have had one in the past and it's not working for you right now, then do you know why that is? What made it fall apart or what's keeping you from returning to it? Share that in the chat and maybe we can troubleshoot some of those hiccups to our routines while I have you brainstorm how to come up with your essential routines. Because what goes into the morning and evening and EHAP routine is not the same. I'm not going to give you a secret formula morning routine where if we all do the exact same things, then we're all going to have the same outcome. I'm saying we should all have a bare minimum 15-minute morning routine, but what we do in that 15 minutes is going to be different. We all have different essential elements that our household needs to function. And so what we need to do right now during our Homemakers CEO hour, where we're making some executive decisions about how we run our house, we need to figure out what our household needs. And so to do that, you have to brain dump. And brain dumping just means writing down whatever thoughts come into your head onto paper. Once they're on paper, you can think about them and problem solve instead of just letting thoughts swirl in an unproductive way. Okay, so I see morning routine is haphazard. We have too much stuff in our house. When is the morning routine? How do I know that what I have is a morning routine? My morning routine feels counterproductive right now, like I'm flying by the seat of my pants. My morning routine is only showering and getting ready. There we go. Lizzie has her, sounds like minimum viable morning routine. So does Sarah, yes, and Heather. Fun, very good. And I know that Lizzie and Sarah and Heather have worked on this already before because they are in Convivial Circle. And we've talked about this before. All right. Kara has her evening routine there. Yes, and it is hard. I'm so tired at the end of the day. Okay, so let's start with the morning routine though, with the executive thinking. So we're stepping back and getting the big picture. We are channeling our inner executive manager operations mode instead of our busy bee doer mode. We're going to go into management mode and think things through. What does your household need to have happen to function properly? Brain dump. We're starting here with the morning routine, but what you might come up with during the brain dump might end up on your evening routine or your EHAP routine, but just start brain dumping. What needs to happen for your household to run smoothly? I'm going to put that on my slide. Let's add each day, right? Because some routines need to happen more than once a day. Some routines need to happen less than once a day. There's a weekly rhythm or a monthly rhythm, but we're thinking here, what needs to happen every day in my house for things to function smoothly? And like I said, just let the answers come out of your mind onto the paper, and then you can sort them and filter them and deal with them later. Later during this session. We're going to get to the sorting and distilling part. Right now, you just want to let it all out, even if it's not going to be morning things, even if it maybe might not end up being daily. When the family routines change, then that makes what works go out the window. Inside Convivial Circle, one distinction that we make about our morning routine is that we have a personal morning routine, and then we have a house routine. So a personal routine would be the Bible reading, getting ready for the day, prayer, and those kind of self-startup times are your own personal morning routine. But what we're going to be really ironing out today during this session are your homekeeping routines. So 3 essential homekeeping routines: morning routine, evening routine, EHAP routine. These are the 3 things to help keep our house functioning. The personal morning routine is to keep ourselves functioning, and that's important too. But right now we're thinking through, what does our home need from us to not fall into chaos? So some examples from the chat: wash the table and the main counter, text my husband, start breakfast, feed the chickens, wake up the children, start the laundry, make kids school lunch, sweep, 5-minute living room tidy, 5-minute bedroom tidy, put clothes away, start a load of laundry, swipe bathroom counter when I'm done getting ready, then whatever the kitchen needs. These are great expressions of potential items for your morning routine. And the real trick, the real problem we all have with getting these things ironed out and distilled is that we want to do them all. We want all of them to be on our morning routine. And so we really have to take a deep breath and figure out what's most essential and prioritize. Because the reality is that we aren't going to get to all the things every day. And so instead of saying that we're going to, or trying to, thinking that we will, we're admitting that it's not likely that we will do all the things. but we will do what's most important because we've thought through what's most important. We've written that down. We can do that. And once we have done what's most important, if we have the time available to us in the morning or evening or afternoon, we're also more likely to just keep going and doing more things, especially when that pressure of expectation that we will do all the things is removed. When we've removed false expectations, the pressure goes off and we're actually freed up to do more than we might have otherwise, especially when we begin with what's most important. So keep that brain dump going. Let's see, empty the dishwasher, empty sink before milking the cow. We'll get to EHAP for sure. EHAP is our little acronym for a routine secret weapon that we will get to. Main counter cleared and tidy, dishwasher unloaded, laundry started. I see lots of laundry started. That's also on my morning routine, because if you just get the day going and it's like, oh wait, that needed to happen and it takes time. But if I start a load of laundry in the morning, then it's ready to move at lunchtime to the dryer, and then it's dry by the afternoon so that we can take care of get the laundry put away. But if I don't start the load in the morning, then it might not be done by lunch, and then it might not be dried by my afternoon chore time. So that indicates that starting a load of laundry for me with a load a day kind of pattern is one of the essential things, because everything else in the day is thrown off, or the laundry might not even happen. It definitely won't happen with any kind of regularity and a regular rhythm if I don't start it first thing in the morning. So I need to just have it as a habit that before I get going with anything else in the day, I start a load of laundry. So look through and pick 3 things from your brain dump list that really need to happen in the morning. They really need to happen in the morning because of other conditional things. If you have chickens or cows or something like that, then yeah, that's what needs to happen in the morning because you have to care for your animals. Clear the breakfast table off for homeschooling. Yeah. What needs to happen? And if you have a lot more than 3, if you have a really difficult time figuring that out, then it might be because your kids need a morning routine also. Morning chores of some kind. So my morning routine is coming in from my walk, making my bed, tidying my room and bathroom, going into the kids' bathroom and just doing a quick tidy. Basically, if I don't at least give myself an awareness of what's going on in there, it can get out of hand very quickly. So I don't clean it. I don't clean their bathroom every day, but I go in and give it a minute or 2 of attention, because I need to keep a level of awareness about what's going on in there. And then I start a load of laundry. 15 minutes. And actually, I do set a timer on myself because I could tidy my bedroom, by which I mean like rearrange the bookshelves or decide to deep clean. And I need to give myself a timer to remember this is just a quick swipe, a quick blitz through these main important areas that get heavily used so that they don't fall into chaos. That's all I'm doing. We're not talking about progress here. We're just talking about maintaining a bare minimum. So just zoom through, do the bare minimum essentials, make my bed, tidy things up real quick, give us at least a small amount of attention to the kids' bathroom, see if it needs to be a project for later that day or not, start a load of laundry. Now, The dishwasher also needs to be emptied at our house for the same reason the laundry needs to be started. And our table needs to be cleared and washed and get ready for school. But those I have assigned to children. I have big kids. They each have a meal job so one person does dishes, one person does the table, and one person does the floor and the garbage. And we rotate those, but more gets done in the morning than just my things. So you can also manage those morning needs by bringing on your team, because your kids are part of your team. Allie has her kids load and unload, or unload and load, right? That's how it works. The dishwasher while she clears the counters. That's great to just be getting something done and keeping an eye while they're doing something. That's great for training kids' chores. Lizzie doesn't delegate the chicken feeding because she really needs that out-of-door fresh air time. So that's why you want to think through your needs, your kids' needs, the needs of your current life situation and schedule. Like if you do have to have lunches before getting out the door, you want to incorporate that into your morning plan. So where are there those contingencies that if they are taken care of in the morning, everything, goes a lot better? Lizzie says, I think of going outdoors as my version of a morning commute. That's great. So then as you brain dump and look at that brain dump list and process it, you can also think about your evening routine. Your evening routine is very similar to your morning routine in that it is 3. I always say 3 because it's easier to remember 3. Once you get past a list of 3, it's very difficult to keep it in your head. And these routines are supposed to be so basic. There are fallback routines. So we want to keep them such that we can get into the rhythm of them and we don't have to refer to some source, some list all the time. You might have to at first, and that's why I have the checklist, which if you share this workshop, you can get the free checklist. But the evening routine should be 3 things that take 15 minutes or less and that just give you that bare minimum setup for the next day. The evening routine things are those items that help you end one day and be able to move into the next day. So an example from mine is that I have to make sure the dishwasher is running. My kids load and unload the dishes, and that's their job. But sometimes, one of them is not allowed to start the dishwasher because I need to just double check that everything was put in correctly before it runs. And then others just forget. They can and they load it and whatever, but they just don't start it. And so, but if it isn't started in the evening, then in the morning, it can't be unloaded, right? So there's that contingency element. So one of my evening routine pieces is start the dishwasher, wipe down the countertops, give spot clean the floor. So a kid's job is sweeping the floor after dinner. So it should have at least a bare minimum crumb, the crumbs should be gone. And so I just do I don't get out the mop usually. I just get a rag, damp, and throw it down on the floor and wiggle it around with my foot on the messy spots. Like this is not a cleaning routine that would impress anyone. This is just basic not impressive, get it done, bare minimum version of things. Set the dishwasher, start the laundry, vacuum the floor. That's a great one. Toe mopping for the win. Yes. It gets the job done. And sometimes you add too many steps or too many tools and supplies, and it's just not going to happen. So there you go. Michelle started the laundry in the evening, and then it's ready to put away in the morning. So yeah, that's what you want to think through, how you work, how your situation, what will fit into your current situation. Because there isn't, some ideal setup. You can't take anyone else's list that works for them and say, if I just do it exactly like someone else, it'll work for me. Because even routines that did work for me when all my kids were little and I had a smaller house, they don't work now. The situation's totally different. Or what worked when I had some big kids and some little kids in a bigger house isn't what works for me now in a small house with only big kids and tons of activities. Our situation changes, and so our routines will need to adapt with us. So it's okay if the routines you come up with right now aren't working in a year when everything's different. And maybe everything will be the same for you in a year. At some point, things will change. And so we aren't looking for the routine that will last for forever. We're just looking for the routine that will do right now. And we expect that we will adapt and iterate it as our needs and situations change. So between the morning and evening routine, I really think it's helpful when the morning and evening routines play together nicely, when they connect. That really helps our motivation, I think. It helps our ability to remember them, and it helps our motivation when the morning and evening routines connect. Like that, start the dishwasher, unload the dishwasher. Start the laundry, put away the laundry. However they tie, usually those essential elements have multiple steps, and one piece has to be done for the final piece to be completed. And so those are the ones where we want to look at putting them in a regular rhythm that's a part of our essentials. So things like laundry and dishes, they accumulate daily. So we have to figure out a rhythm to just keep up with it. So those are the kind of elements we want to see, to notice in our own situations, and plug those into our housekeeping morning and evening routines. The great thing about a short 15-minute morning and evening routine is that it's easier to not procrastinate. Starting is the hardest part. And once you've begun a routine, it's easier to finish a routine. But just that getting started moment is the hardest part. That's one reason why we want to keep it short, so that it's not such a big project that we don't really want to get started, or that we aren't sure we're going to be able to finish, so why start? We can do 15 minutes of something. We can even have a 15-minute plan and say, well, I only have 10 minutes. I bet I could, speed it up a bit or cut the corners a bit and still get this in 10 minutes. And a 10-minute job would be better than no job. That's the kind of mode and mindset we want to be in with our routines if we want to keep our home from falling into chaos. So, pick your 3 things for your morning and evening routines, and then arrange those each of set of 3 things into which one is going to be easiest to start or clearest to start. That's why I start my morning routine with making my bed. And I do that even though a lot of the times my bed's already made, but it gives me a go-to spot, and then it's a clue to myself, like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing my morning routine. So like tidying my room is kind of vague. And so, because then I just kind of look around like, okay, I have 5 minutes to make this a better place. I need to start with something super concrete. And I know I have started my morning routine now. For the next 15 minutes, this is what I'm doing. So for me, that cue is making the bed. I make it at least a little bit better, or I touch, I just kind of fluff a pillow or something to indicate I'm doing my morning routine now. The essential, visual cue is taken care of. Then I can look around and do a few things here, move into the bathroom, next bathroom, start a load of laundry, and it just kind of flows. It flows in the layout of our house. So that's something to consider. What's your traffic pattern? You could put your 3 items in order of a direction you're going, from one spot in the kitchen to the next. With my routine ending with the laundry, that's over in the kitchen area. And so when I come out of the laundry room, I get a glass of water and we start our day, the homeschool day or whatever. So I start here in my bedroom and I end out in the public space once I've started the laundry. Now we're starting our day. And this could take time. You can't always imagine or figure out theoretically first what the best arrangement is. Sometimes it takes experimenting. So don't give up if your theoretical order didn't turn out to be the most effective order for you when you actually got started. Pay attention to the hiccups and the obstacles and treat that as data in an experiment that you can then go and the next day try it a little bit differently and collect some more data and make some more improvements. And that is iterating. You want to iterate your routines and you'll discover in the process how you work and what the logical order is and what makes it easier for you. You don't always know that theoretically, abstractly ahead of time. You discover that by doing. Okay, so I want to make sure we have enough time for EHAP. So let's get on to our EHAP routine. So EHAP is our fun family nickname for tidying up. That's really all it is tidying up. EHAP is an acronym that means everything has a place. And the implication is, so you should put it there. It means tidy everything up. So moving a mess isn't EHAPing because you're not putting everything in its right place. When you're in the middle of figuring out where everything's place is, it can be tricky. But your kids at least can be given shortcuts. Like, if you don't know where it belongs, put it on the table and then you can take care of it. Or you can put it in a container and give it a home later. Finding a place for everything is a process that takes a lot of time. But even if you aren't there yet, even if everything in your home does not have a place, you still can have an EHAP routine, because a lot of the stuff that's used all the time probably does have a home. Or you can give things a temporary home and say, if for now we're just going to put things here. But it's an intentional decision instead of just everyone haphazardly putting it in the most convenient spot or under the couch. EHAP is not just mom cleaning up. EHAP is our whole team, everyone all together, everyone who's home, mom and the kids, working together at the same time in the same place to recover the room from the inevitable entropy and chaos of a day. So an EHAP routine usually fits sometime into the late afternoon, evening, before bedtime, somewhere in there when the house has been lived in. It's 10 minutes to make it better. And sometimes 10 minutes is not enough to get it all the way back to a status quo that you would like. But 10 minutes is still a significant return. And it really helps with our kids to give them a time frame, a time limit. We have a lot more buy-in and cheerful work when it's not do it until mom is happy, but it's we're all going to do this for 10 minutes. Whatever gets done, gets done. When you do that, you will be surprised that those 10 minutes add up over time. It's true that sometimes there will be more than you can tidy up in 10 minutes. But there will be other times where your 10 minutes is a surplus and you can do something more. You could move a couch cushion. You can move a chair. You can peek behind the corner that you try to avoid noticing. Sometimes 10 minutes is actually a surplus, especially after you've been doing it consistently for a few weeks. So even on those days where everything is really out of hand and 10 minutes does not get things back to the normal that we want, we still stop it at 10 minutes because 10 minutes is our agreed upon teamwork time. And it's our bare minimum. And it's good enough. And even if you have young kids, you can direct them, find something that's where it doesn't belong, and then show it to me, and then you tell them where it goes. Or, you assign one kid trash, and one kid books, and one kid shoes. There are all kinds of ways to arrange it, and you can experiment with all kinds of ways. You can change it up, and it can be a different kind of game every time. But the goal is that we're all working together on the same team for, we're beating the clock. We're seeing how much we can get done in 10 minutes all together. And then high five, we're done, on to the next thing, like dinner or bedtime or TV time, whatever it is, it's the next thing. And EHAP helps us as moms keep a better attitude about the daily entropy of life. Entropy is that the concept, it's a word for reality, kind of like gravity. Entropy is the reality that things fall apart. Things, if you If you are not constantly improving something, it doesn't just stay, it gets worse. Things decay. Dust accumulates. Things don't get put back properly all the time. People take off their shoes and just leave them by the door. Entropy is not something that we can win a battle and conquer, such that, we've set things up so that entropy doesn't happen. Entropy happens like gravity happens. It's not an enemy we are able to abolish, conquer, reject, evict. Entropy is just something that we adapt ourselves to. We work with it. We acknowledge its reality. Because there is entropy, we have to have maintenance routines that we repeat. The fact that we need daily maintenance is not a problem. It's just the reality. So we have maintenance because there is entropy. There's always going to be entropy, so there's always going to be maintenance. EHAP is our baseline maintenance of stuff. In a busy family home, lots of people doing things all the time. That means lots of stuff is out. The books are out. The craft supplies are out. And the fact that those things are out isn't a problem. It's a good thing. We just need a strategic time for getting it put away. So ours is right before dinner. Before we set the table for dinner, before anyone gets to eat dinner, we all do EHAP. I'll say, okay, dinner's in 15 minutes, 10-minute EHAP, everyone. And at this point, I think for most of my kids at home, that's what we've been doing their whole life. So it doesn't need any explanation, but it definitely took some practice and coaching with my older set of kids. And now it's just our normal. We return the things to their homes so we can move on to the next thing. And the real benefit for moms, for myself and other women have found the same, is that then in the middle of the day, when everything is out, when the shoes are by the door all over, and the pencils, colored pencils are on the floor, and the Legos are out, and we walk in and we see our work undone, and we see future work that we weren't planning on and didn't want to do. I often walk into a room and I just see the work that I ought to have done that I haven't. And that is a discouraging way to think about it. And often it's not actually the truth of the situation. Because if I walk into the kitchen while my daughter is cooking, I should be seeing the productive benefit in that situation and not the mess that we're going to have to deal with later. And one mindset and routine approach to help us be okay with the in-process mess of kids learning, growing, living as they ought to be is to have this time set aside where it's all going to go back to its right spot. So if I come in, at 2 o'clock and things are out and people are doing things, people have done some things and left some things out, the instant mess comes to my attention is not the time I have to deal with it. It's not my job to make everything be put away all the time and all these people are undoing my work all the time. They're living. All this stuff is there to help them live and grow and learn. So everything is good. No chaos. It's not actually chaos. I need to take a break. I need to step out of the situation and not panic. It's all going to happen during EHAP. When EHAP rolls around, we'll put all this stuff away and it'll be all fine. We've got a plan for it. we're all going to work together. This is all going to be put away before dinner. So just let it be. Roll with it. Let them do their things. So EHAP helps us. This is really where entropy doesn't turn into chaos. There will be entropy, but there doesn't have to be chaos if we have the plan to clean up the entropy. And then the entropy will bring everything back, and then we'll return it. And it's like a tide. And does this work? Could we be the moon? If there's a tide, could we be the moon helping the waves roll in and out? We could probably make that metaphor work. It's not a problem, it's the plan. And so we have a plan for dealing with the inevitable messes that kids make, and there's no need to panic in the middle of it. Yeah, great chat on the sidebar. Very helpful ideas in there. So we had a list, a set of 3 for your morning routine and an evening routine. The 3 pieces for EHAP that we need are the when and how everyone gets together. So that would be the start, right? Like I said, starting is the hardest part. So the first item of your EHAP routine is the routine of gathering everyone together to EHAP. And what I have found is it's way more effective if I don't start it by going around the house yelling so that everyone can hear me that it's EHAP time. So we play a song. Right now I really like playing, I think it's the Beatles. The Beatles, Help, help, I need somebody, help. Won't you please help? I play that as loud as I can. And then it makes me laugh anyway. So then we all get together, we EHAP. And so that is all together. The all together part is super important. This is not mom just sending them off unsupervised. This is all of us being a team and working together, because it's going to take years of training, years of practice, years of coaching for the kids to be able to do this on their own. They will be able to do it on their own, but only after years of coaching. So we're there as the coach. Coaching requires different actions and methods and strategies depending on your players. But you are the coach during the EHAP time. That might mean you're working alongside of them. That might mean you're just directing, but you're there. You're coaching. And then some kind of high five acknowledgement. Celebration. It doesn't have to be much. It can be thank you so much, but some kind of close. And you should use a timer to gain your kids' trust that you mean what you say, that this is only going to be 10 minutes, and they believe you. And they know that you're not just going to give them another thing if they finish quickly. Like these are the parameters. Let's go for it. We do not do EHAP throughout the day. That's a part of it. We set the EHAP time, and EHAP, our decided EHAP time, which in our family is 5 o'clock usually. Sometimes we might need to bump it up or bump it down depending on when things are happening. If we have, right now, we have a lot more activities that we go to with bigger kids, but generally speaking, 5 p.m. is our usual EHAP time. Because we have our 5 p.m. EHAP time earlier in the day when they're doing stuff, I don't make them stop what they're doing to EHAP. I don't have to pester them. I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to interrupt them unless there's a disaster. But for a typical day, we EHAP it all during our 10-minute afternoon EHAP. So I'm not interrupting them. I'm not adding extra requirements. They aren't at my beck and call. We have an agreed upon, this is when we're going to put everything back together in the day. And that's the real key to the EHAP routine. Now, sometimes we do have extra EHAPs here and there. And part of that is because my kids have all been doing it their whole lives. They are actually very practiced and very fast. We all are on the same page at this point for what that means. And so if I say, people are coming over, we need to EHAP. But I don't just, sometimes if it's where I have a break week for school, and so I say, okay, for a first hour before you go off and do your own things, we're going to do an hour of house cleaning together, and we're going to start with an EHAP. But for the most part, as far as average daily routines, because we have a dedicated regular EHAP time, 5 p.m. every day, therefore there are not sporadic EHAPs throughout the day that I require of them. Now, I might go through and just put things away here and there that are usually my things, but I don't usually put away their things unless it's a problem. It would not be unreasonable to have a end of school day EHAP and then another evening house EHAP. Yeah, putting away your school things, because I have big kids now, is on their checklist. So they aren't done with school until they've put their things away at the end of the day. So yeah, however you want to adjust that. Yes, Lindsay says you can create a 10-minute playlist that you always use. That's a great one. So the morning and evening routine, the EHAP routine, these are your bare minimum routines that help you not only keep everything from falling into chaos, they also help you cheerfully manage your home responsibilities and feel like you have an actual handle on it. A big part of that is keeping your expectations realistic on what you're supposed to be doing. We spend a lot more time and practice developing these routines and 3 others in our Sweep and Smile program, which actually starts this Friday. We're going to start a 6-week accountability program in our community convivial circle through Sweep and Smile, which is my most popular course, my most popular program. Sweep and Smile is a 6-week intensive to help you determine what your household needs for home keeping routines. We talk about every room of the house and have a process for you to figure out what needs to be done, what needs to go into the morning and evening routine, but also then what needs to be addressed on a weekly basis and how to arrange that, how to fit that into your day, how to fit that into your week. We go through bedrooms and bathrooms, and I don't tell you what to do. I walk you through a process of determining what your current situation and your family needs right now, and to not get overblown expectations, and to not think that your job is to keep the house pristine every moment of the day, but to just manage the real family flow of your home. Keep it functional. And that's why it's Sweep and Smile. We don't just do the routines. We do them knowing why we're doing them. knowing that we have our proper expectations of ourselves and of others and of our living situation, and really being content and cheerful in doing the repetitious, mundane work that we are often so tempted to be discouraged in. We get rid of the discouragement, replace it with cheerfulness, replace it with a proper understanding of consistency, which does not mean that it's perfectly executed at the exact same time in the exact same way every day or every week. Sometimes we have a misunderstanding of what kind of consistency we are shooting for, and then that backfires and discourages us and frustrates us. Sweep and Smile is 6 weeks to make over not only your home routines, but also make over your mindset and attitude about those routines. So a lot of the ladies that you've seen here chatting about their routines that they have in place shaped what those routines are in the Sweep and Smile program. And I'm so excited to work through it again with our community. You can become a part of our community by going to, I should have had a slide for this. This should have been already done, right? Go to simplyconvivial.com and click the green Enroll button at the top. I'll also put a link directly to the information about Sweep and Smile. But Sweep and Smile starts Friday. That's Friday, October 13th. Right? Right. October 13th is this Friday. And it's a 6-week program for a homekeeping makeover of the routines and also of your attitude about those routines. So you can go to simplyconvivial.com and click the green Enroll button to just get started right away in our community Convivial Circle. And you can also click on the link I'm about to put in the chat, and I'll put it in the video replay description as well. Here we go. Sweep and Smile is a very fun time together for accountability. I have learned some of my favorite housekeeping hacks during our chats, where sometimes people just have super clever ideas, super effective cleaning methods that I didn't know about. When we have a group of us all working on the same thing for an amount of time, we have a place and an opportunity to share what we've learned, and that helps us to learn it even better. And the rest of us get to learn from the experience of others as well. My favorite method for cleaning the bathtub I learned from our very first go round of Sweep and Smile. I learned about scrub daddies, the cool sponges. We chat it up and share our best tips and keep the encouragement coming. And it really is a great time of learning together. So I'd love to have you join us for Sweep and Smile. It's included in your membership. So if you're already in Convivial Circle, it's next up. It starts Friday. And actually our kickoff workshop will be Wednesday. So if you don't want to miss being live on our kickoff workshop, which would be kind of like this, then, not the same content, but this kind of format, then join by Wednesday, because our kickoff meeting is Wednesday.